Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with the NFL Draft Diamonds, and I have a diamond in the rough for you guys to meet today. His name is Ian Wheeler. He is a running back out of Howard University. Nice to have you on, buddy.
Pleasure for taking the time to speak with you, Jimmy.
Hey, man, definitely nice to get you on. I mean, I did get a chance to go to a Howard game this year, so it was certainly fun to get down there and to watch you guys. But just kind of wanted to get to meet you and share your story with the rest of the world. So why don't you go ahead and start us out? Tell us where you're from, and then we'll go from there.
Cool. So born in New Orleans, raised in Houston. We moved following Katrina. Uh, I was raised mostly by my mom and my grandmother. I'm blessed to have two younger brothers, Ethan and Nasir. Um, yeah, so big family guy. Started playing football because I saw how much my mom loved watching. We used to watch the Saints games on Sunday. So I loved seeing how excited my mom got when like we were winning or losing. So I was like, okay, so I can do this. I can run around and play this game that's fun and make my mom happy. So the rest is kind of history. I've been playing football ever since.
Gotcha. So I'm assuming you grew up a Saints fan, maybe a Reggie Bush fan. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not trying to insinuate nothing, but would that be accurate?
Yeah, definitely a Saints fan. Loved Reggie Bush coming up. Big fan of Alvin Kamara now. And like even what's his name? Mark Ingram too, of course. And then I forgot his last name is Pierre. I remember playing with him on Madden all the time. But a lot of Saints running backs I remember.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them. Even I think Darren Sproles was also there as well. He's been on a few different teams. A lot of good backs out there. So I mean, and again, growing up, I mean, you were able to experience Super Bowl as a fan, which is
Yeah,
kind of nice.
exactly.
So um, cool. So went to St. Thomas High School in Houston, Texas, but like you said, grew up in New Orleans as well. And according to my notes, dude, you were also a standout track and field athlete as well there in high school. So, talk about your time at your high school and any memories that you want to share, real quick.
Well, so yeah, I went to public school for most of my life, and then one of my older guy who went to school with me told me I should apply to St. Thomas. So I did, and it ended up being like a really good decision for me. A lot of brotherhood, lots of learning about myself, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Lots of friends and memories that I made there. Like even like going on retreats or just riding the bus back from games, things like that. But yeah, lots of fun. Track was I was good at track. That was my first time doing it in high school. So I went to regionals as a freshman, and then from there I was kind of one of the big pieces on the team. And then football, it shook out the way football did. I was on varsity as a sophomore, so I did pretty well for myself.
Nice. So, again, regional athlete on the track, and I would imagine some of that does obviously translate to the game of football because I mean you're a running back. I mean you got to be quick. You have to have the stamina. Um, uh, Take me into maybe a little bit more of a dive as to what it's like to train as a football player versus a track athlete. What's the main difference?
I think the biggest thing is there are two different types of running. So track, it's about being efficient and getting from point A to point B as fast as you can. Versus football, it's about, I would say, playing with pace, being able to get in and out of things. Because you can't always run straight in football, obviously. So in track, it's like you got to be tall, you have to get your hips up, hips through, abs tight, like make sure that you're like as efficient as you can because we're all trying to go that way. In football, it's like, okay, cool. I get the ball. I might have to go 5 yards sideways to go 3 yards vertical. So it's just very different types of running, and like that transition from football to track is always kind of difficult for like the first 3 weeks when you get back.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, football isn't played on a straight line. I remember, running track myself, and they would train us literally to run on the line. so that we would run straight, and so and try and get proper form and such. But yeah, like pace, like you got to be patient as a running back. Obviously, you got to read the guys in front of you and understand what the defense is doing as well, so you can obviously maximize your output as a player. Um, Neat. So, obviously, played well enough there in high school to get noticed at the next level. Talk to me about the whole recruiting phase and what ultimately led you towards Howard.
Uh, Coming out of high school, I would say, Texas is a really big football state, so it's really easy to get lost in all the recruits and all the different schools. So I didn't take the route how like looking back at it, I didn't take the route that I need to take to get heavily recruited. I didn't really go to camps until the summer before my senior year. All these other summers I was doing like academic stuff, just trying to make sure that was good. Uh, but my senior year ran for over 1,000 rushing yards, something like that. Average like nine-ish yards a carry, something. So I was getting looked at by a lot of Division 3 schools, and like other schools would say like, if you get in, we'll take you as a walk on. Like it's cool, like we like your film, but it's like we're too like it's too late in the process for us to extend you an offer. So spoke to Division 3 coach at Trinity. His name's Jeremy Urban, and I asked him like I was like can we have a moment like to be honest? Do you think I'm a Division 1 talent? He was like yes. And I was like okay, so respectfully, I'm gonna bet on myself. So I already got into Howard. I was in contact with the coach that said I'd like to like walk on the else team. And they gave me a preferred walk on spot, and I was playing at Howard University.
Interesting. So, I mean, dude could have been a D3 guy, but ended up, with a D1 opportunity at Howard. I mean, again, the football is huge in Texas. And so, like you said, I mean, you end up getting lost in the shuffle sometimes. And you never know, man. Like, some of these guys, they slip through the cracks, they go D2, D3, whatever. But I mean, obviously, you found your way to Howard. Um, you were talking about again that being somewhat of I don't know, maybe a rough uh, outing as you're trying to maneuver yourself through the whole recruiting phase. What sort of advice would you give a high school athlete who is trying to get noticed and get recruited?
Um, I think the best thing is to like build yourself up. I didn't have an Instagram. I had a Twitter that I barely used. Um, Coaches look for things like that. Obviously, like promoting yourself is a good thing. But I think the biggest thing is just trying to make yourself the best player you can be at the end of the day. And always show up, do your best to always show up in the big games. So like there were times where like, even if your team isn't super successful, like my team didn't necessarily turn the corner like we wanted to. When you show up in games where other teams players are gonna be watched, they're gonna look and be like, that kid on the other team is actually really good too. So it's just like that's a way to get the doors open. And then camps are always helpful. I don't like camp, but camps help.
But like you said, I mean, in the early stages, like it's kind of up to you to promote yourself. I mean, get yourself out there, obviously establish yourself on social media, and then you know do your part to stand out, and then of course, obviously ultimately try and make some relationships that can further you in the process. So again, made yourself out, got yourself out to Howard, out in the DC area. And so, talk to me about Howard University and really why it's so special for you.
Howard is a place where you can be anything that you really want to be. Lots of history, lots of culture, lots of connections. It's just like in a place that's in DC where there's a lot of opportunities for you to grow and develop. There's a bunch of alumni that will like help you, that will reach out to you. Like Antoine Bethea played in the NFL. I've talked to Antoine Bethea like 10 times since I've been at Howard, just because he's coming around. Like they give back to um, they give back to the community. So it's a place where, especially being a black person, it's important that you have an opportunity to be yourself in a space where you're comfortable. So I would say like Howard definitely allowed me to do that.
Definitely Howard is a very well established HBCU, and gives guys like yourself opportunity to go out there and do a lot, man. And like you said, has a good alumni that come back and help you guys out, which is cool. Um, go ahead and talk a little bit about y'all's offense, man. I mean, I know as I had, come to watch you guys, and I think a lot of scouts, man, or they were there looking at that big offensive lineman up front. Actually, a pretty decent offensive line unit as a whole. But talk to me a little bit about those guys and kind of how you fit into the mix.
Offensively, we ran mostly spread type of look. Um, I'm gonna give a shout out to all the linemen. So, like you said, Aneem's in the draft this year. Aneem's gonna do great. We had a rotating left guard, so it was Tim and Mulhine. Then, what were they right guards? One of our guards was Tim and Maul. Center, that was Steph and Deshaun. Love those guys. Other guard was Foxy. Love Fox. And then our right tackle, Spoon, he just transferred to Syracuse. So, like you said, our O line was fantastic. One of the best that we've had since I've been there, at least. Just, um, and they continue to get better every week, and that's something like we can always ask for. So offensively, we had a lot of weapons, like a lot of weapons. But obviously, there's only one ball, so uh, that was challenging. I'll just be honest, that was challenging this past season because there'll be games where one person gets all the touches, another game where it's spread out amongst us evenly. But you know, knowing like the player that I am, and the versatility that I brought to the team in general, I know I got a lot of my touches on special teams, and like just making the most of the opportunity when they presented themselves. That was kind of my goal for this past season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in the mix, you have a committee of running backs, and they kind of plug you in whenever they need you. Whoever has the hot hand or something. Um, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I think most people might see you as more of a change of pace back, if that's a correct assumption. And then of course, like you had mentioned, I mean, a huge asset on special teams as a very good return specialist. How else would you describe yourself as an athlete?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do it in order. So change of pace, just the way our offense moved this year, I would definitely describe myself as a change of pace back. Um, I will stand proudly on the fact that I am the fastest running back, and I'm probably the fastest player on our team. So definitely a change of pace. Definitely, if we're going inside, counter, power, inside zone over again, you plug me in and outside zone and it might spring into something. Uh, yeah, returning is a lot of fun. Returning is a lot of fun. I hadn't returned until I got to college, so it's definitely something that like when things go right, I know I can make something break. Um, had a couple opportunities to scored a couple touchdowns. So yeah, returning is a lot of fun, and even still, like when it comes to athleticism, obviously I'm fast, but I'm strong. I have great balance. Um, I know how to play like with like underneath myself for the most part. Obviously stuff happens, but like I can do whatever's needed to be asked of me. I can block, I can run, I can catch, I can run routes, I can tackle. Obviously I can return kicks. So it's just something that I would describe myself like versatile as an athlete.
So, again, people are going to be looking at you as either a special teams guy or a guy who can come in and kind of switch things up if need be. Um, walk me through a couple of different plays, man, that you've been a part of. At first, if you don't mind, walk me through maybe perhaps one of your best returns on special teams, and then the other of you as a running back out there. So walk me through a couple plays if you don't mind.
Okay, I'll stick to this past season because that's easier. Uh, Best return I would say that I had this year, I actually didn't score on. It was against FAMU. So we're in the Celebration Bowl. It's the opening kickoff return. They've been talking about how this kicker is going to kick it out the back of the end zone the whole week, and he kicks it short. So we have what do we have? I think we have our return to the right. It's sometime I'm not gonna say the name of our play, but a return to the right. We're supposed to aim it inside and then bang it back outside. So I catch the ball and like because of how quick I am, unfortunately the entire left side didn't get blocked. They just went straight to pursuit angle. But we got we got to the opposite 30, yeah, 30-ish, like 33, something like that. And that just set up our offense to score on that first opening drive. It was just like it was a way to take the air out the stadium from the start because we were kind of outnumbered. Like Florida's right next to Georgia, so like they had all their fans there. So it was just a way to kind of it's like that's the thing about special teams. It's a quick way to change a game. It's like no, I'm not gonna say nobody pays attention, but like people kind of get lost in those things until something big happens, and then that's where like the hidden yardage and all the important things happen, where we can capitalize on that as a team. Um, Offensively, best run I probably had, maybe Robert Morris. It was I want to say in the fourth, we had already we already kind of like iced the game. I had returned a kick for a touchdown earlier in the game, and it just kind of they were kind of out of it, if we're gonna be honest. But I get the ball, it's outside zone to the right, run like gun offset. So I come to the right. There's a big gap that opens up between the front side guard and the center. So obviously I have to press it outside to make sure the DN doesn't loop back inside or the three tech doesn't loop back inside. But as soon as I see it, put my foot in the ground, take off, stiff arm the safety that comes down, made it look really bad on film. Like respectfully, he looked he did he didn't look the best right then. And then streaked for like 60 yards. So it was yeah, just really fun game. Honestly, I had like 9 touches and I had like over 200 yards of like scrimmage.
Well, and if we're being real, man, it is kind of your job to make the opposition look bad.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, I know it's kind of messed up to look at it like that, but it's the truth. And then of course with you as a special teams guy, I mean, like you said, I mean, you're able to, establish momentum, gain field possession. And then, of course, man, if you're getting returns already in field goal, like, I guess contention, I mean, what else can you ask for except for obviously a touchdown? That's kind of, what you get obviously in a player like you. So, um, cool. So, obviously, man, you were able to, do well this past season, and really, as within your career overall, I mean, you were a three-time All MEAC player, which is kind of nice, and um, I think most of those, accolades are probably from your, special teams ability, anyways. Which, hey, you got to take what you can get anyway. So, but after all that was said and done, man, you had an opportunity to play in the HBCU Legacy Bowl. So, talk about your involvement in that, and just kind of how that whole week went for you.
That whole week was a lot of fun. Obviously, I got to be around some of my former teammates. I got to hang out with Q and Darian and who else? Brennan, Ray, and Deshaun. If you have to see Jerome, a lot of my old teammates. A lot of camaraderie, and I think the best part about that was just kind of solidified some things for me because obviously, like I wasn't necessarily like a bell cow back in college, but when I got to pretty much go to this All Star game, I like showcased that I was one of the best prospects out there and that I could move with the best of them. So it was just kind of something that solidified that that experience was an ego boost. I'm gonna be honest. It definitely was a confidence boost and an ego boost. So and then the game, It was okay. Like, unfortunately, Davius Davius Richards, he got hurt on the first drive. But we won the game, and I did pretty well for myself. I think I showcased that I can be patient. I can run the ball inside or outside. Obviously, I wanted to score, but didn't necessarily get that opportunity. But it was a lot of fun, and I got to perform at my hometown, so that was always nice.
Hey, obviously, man, being an all-star event helps so much. I mean, it puts you on a bigger stage, and gives you an opportunity to just, be around some great people. You're also, put in a position where you can maybe perhaps talk to some scouts. So did you have those moments? Can you talk a little bit about some of the teams that you've, kind of been, I guess, in touch with over your time this offseason?
So before the Legacy Bowl, they had an HBCU combine
Right.
the weekend before, and I got to speak to a good amount of teams. I want to say like close to like 9 or 10. So there definitely was some interest, and I'm looking forward to see how that goes this weekend. But like you said, a lot of teams view me as someone that can be really dynamic, special teams wise, and eventually as a running back. Um, so that was just like, it's been really cool. I'm not sure, like, do I just say the team? Like, is that what you want me to do?
If
I'm
you
not.
want to, go for it. Not a big deal.
Cool. No particular order. Uh, Texans, the Chargers, the Eagles, the Browns, Cowboys, the Chiefs, Panthers, mm, San Francisco, the Cardinals. I'm missing some, but like, yeah.
That's
There
fair.
was.
I mean,
I'm
you
about to say,
dropped a good what, 8 to 10 of them. So I mean,
yeah,
that's fine. Obviously, you got some teams interested in. And I know it might sound kind of strange because obviously you weren't like the bell cow kind of guy, but I mean, um, you still got some miles on the tread, so to speak. I mean, oftentimes you'll get these running backs who are the bell cow, and they've been run to the ground,
right.
in college, and may not have much left. But I do feel like you have a lot left in the tank. Maybe something that we really haven't seen because you haven't been that cow type guy, but can certainly add a lot to a professional team. Obviously, like you said, I mean, you were part of the HBCU Combine, and you also had a pro day, so you had opportunities to go out there and run these silly drills and tell people that, hey, I'm a pretty athletic guy. So, walk me through some of the highlights of those, if you don't mind.
Um, I really enjoyed the entire experience. Went out, did the Wonderlic. I think I did great on the Wonderlic. I don't know what I scored, but I felt really good just answering questions. Bench press is bench press. I'm not gonna complain too much about it. I think I could have did a little bit better, but who can't? Vert was the first time I like really just kind of showed athleticism. I think I could have got a little bit higher. They gave me a third jump. I ended up jumping 38 and a half because it's like I jumped like 35. Then the second jump, I jumped 38 and a half. So I was like, oh, okay, I jumped like 3, 4 inches. Y'all can let me go again. I think I would have got 40, but that's okay. Uh, Broad was fine. I jumped, I think, like a 10.5. 40, big event for the day. So went out, ran my 40. Like teammates came up to me, so they were like, "Oh, I clocked you at a 4.1, clocked you at a 4.2, clocked you at a 4.3, clocked you at a 4.4." I was like, "Okay, so I can't listen to any of y'all because y'all are telling me very different times, and that's gonna determine whether or not I keep running." Then our equipment manager, her name's Kendall. Kendall came up to me. She was like, "You know what they said?" I was like, "No, I don't know. I don't know what they said." She said 4.39. I was like, "Are you sure?" She was like, "No." Then I was like, "Okay, then I can't listen to you right now." Respectfully. Then my head coach, I mean not my head coach, my position coach, Coach Johnson, he came up to me and he was like, "You know what you ran?" I was like, "No." He's like 4.35. That's what they wrote down. I was like, "Cool." So I'm gonna shut it down. Like I did what I needed to do.
Hey, man,
Um,
when you run that fast, you run once.
yeah,
Ask Xavier Worthy, man. Like he did it, and that's it. I'm not gonna run again. I'm hanging him up, and I'm leaving because I mean,
right.
obviously you've showcased the fact that you're a pretty fast guy. So, obviously, hey, you're a fast guy. you can run that fast, you're going to get an opportunity with somebody. So that just kind of, I mean, I don't care who it is. I mean, you know, you run that fast, you're going to get an opportunity somewhere for sure. So, um, Ian, do want to take a brief moment. I mean, it's been great talking to you about like your football journey, but I do want to take a brief moment to meet the guy under the helmet, see if there's anything we got to learn about this guy that's very interesting, whether it be your hobbies, your interests, if you have any special talents, or just anything in general that you might be passionate about that you want to share. So go ahead and give us a little something.
Okay. I guess we'll start with the hobby. I like baking. I made some croissants
Baking
like a
or
week or so.
bacon?
Baking, like
Okay.
like rolling dough out and stuff. So made some croissants not too long ago. That was really difficult. Because you have to keep everything really cold and just have to like not compress the layers real. I'm not gonna get too technical about it, but it's just like that's how you keep it airy and like flaky, and you keep like it's really good. I did okay. I think they could look a little bit better, but for my first time, that was okay. So baking something I really enjoy doing. It's a stress reliever, and it's also a way for me to like treat company and things like that. Um,
So
really
what's the
enjoy
one
reading.
thing that you're proud of that you like to bake or cook for people?
Cinnamon rolls. I'm really good at making cinnamon rolls. Every time I make them, they're like a crab leader.
That's that's nice, man. That's very I mean it whets my appetite just thinking about it. So keep going. Keep talking about whatever you want.
Yeah. I enjoy reading. Last book I tried to read was by Marcus Aurelius. It's called Great Meditations or Meditation. Very hard to read, I'm gonna be honest, because it was written in Latin and then it was translated to English, and it's a diary. So it's kind of like something I have to get back on the grindstone about. But outside of that, everyone like I like watching TV. Um I like listening to music. Um, I got into medical school. That was something that was a big goal for this past year. So I graduated spring of 2023, and obviously I didn't necessarily know whether or not I'd be granted the opportunities that I've been blessed with when it comes to football. So I was like, okay, if I'm like this is my last season playing football, then I have to get ready for the next part of my life. So applied to like 10, 11 medical schools. They said they want you to apply to like 20 because of how hard it is to get into medical school, right? So I was doing that for a lot of this summer and this fall, doing interviews, things like that. I was blessed to get into multiple. So I was actually on a tour this past weekend at my first choice. It's McGovern Medical School in Houston, Texas. It's a really good school. So yeah, that's something that I'm proud of. Um,
So where would you see yourself getting into the medical field, man? Like, is there any like a specific area that you would target or what?
I want to be a psychiatrist. So the end goal would be, well, not necessarily the end goal. The goal is, get my psychiatry, like be a psychiatrist, and when I have the resources and I have the connections, be able to build a community center where we can, if not build upon a community center that already exists in underprivileged neighborhoods, and be able to provide more resources and more education, whether that's in regards to mental health or something, that would be something that I would focus on, or like nutritional health, sexual health, whatever that needs to be like focused on in that community. Just giving people more access to resources so there can be like an even playing field, especially for kids coming up.
Cool. Well, all that sounds great. And I'm not just saying that, man. I mean, I think that obviously uh, you have been blessed with a lot of different gifts, whether it be you as a football player or you academically, in your ability to, you know, get into this sort of field and perhaps maybe one day uh, get to those goals that you talked about. Getting into psychiatry, building, getting a building and all this other stuff so that you can reach out to the community. Dude, all that stuff sounds awesome. Um, but of course, I originally had reached out to you because you're a guy who's an NFL prospect. I mean, you've been put on display at the Legacy Bowl, and you're trying this thing out, man. You want to see if maybe you can get on a football team and be on an active roster and all that great stuff. So, I know that you've had some time with some scouts, and maybe perhaps there might be a scout watching this video. So go ahead and tell all those NFL teams out there why you would be a great asset to their team, and close us out.
At the end of the day, I will do anything that I need to do to win. Whether that's going down and making a tackle, whether that's running the ball, whether that's blocking for a quarterback, blocking for someone else, returning kicks. I want to win. And I think when you bring me into an organization, that's my goal is to one, win and be impactful with like how I do things, and two, to become a better football player every day. And the reason why I want to be an NFL player outside of like childhood dreams and, thoughts of changing like my family's and I's lives is because I want to be the best football player I can be. And when I hang up my cleats, I want to be able to be satisfied with that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a great asset on many different levels. I mean, again, you come in as a running back, you can be a great special teamer. And hey, that's a spot for you, man, where you can easily, get into the door where, and then ultimately, get more opportunities at running back. Also, a guy that can be a quality receiver as well. So, Ian, just want to wish you all the best with what you got going on. I mean, obviously, you're trying to get to the next level, in football and also pursuing medical school, which sounds exciting. But want to wish you all the best. Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Once again, I got Ian Wheeler, running back, Howard. Take a look at this guy. Take care.